We will start our uh, last knowledge area, project stakeholder management. Then there will be only one remaining, integration management. Then tomorrow we will start integration management and we will apply all the knowledge we gathered during this study to whole project management. So what is the stakeholder? We discussed before that every project has stakeholders, and a stakeholder can impact your project or can be impacted by your project in a positive or negative way. So all your sponsor, your team, your project manager, your environment, your within a program, portfolio managers, your sponsor, your contractor, and the person who can be affected by your project or can impact your project are your stakeholder. So this stakeholder, in identify stakeholder phase, you can see this in initiating process group. As soon as possible your project charter finish, you identify stakeholder immediately. When this stakeholder procedure is repetitive procedure, you have to be repeated in identifying your stakeholder throughout the project. Maybe you will found new stakeholder or you have to change the responsibility for any stakeholder. So there are four processes. First you will identify a stakeholder, then you will plan for stakeholder engagement, how they will engage in your project management. So what is the any stakeholder engagement? So basically, planned stakeholder engagement will be the process of developing approaches to involve project holders based on their needs, expectation, interest, and potential impact in your project. So you will do this job in planned stakeholder engagement. After that, you will manage your stakeholder. How you will manage? So stakeholder engagement is the process of communicating and working with the stakeholder to meet their requirements, their needs, their expectation, and you have to address the issues and their efficient involvement in your project. This job you will be doing in manage stakeholder engagement, and this is in execution process group. So you will be doing this job throughout your project. Then you will be doing monitor stakeholder engagement. You have to monitor your stakeholder. So monitor stakeholder engagement is the process of monitoring all your project stakeholder relationships, their tailoring strategies, and engaging these stakeholder as per your desired value. Maybe you want some stakeholder in leading position and your stakeholder current position is passive, so you have to monitor these performances. So we already discussed the overview of this project stakeholder management that include the processes required to identify the people, groups, organizations that could impact or impacted by the project, and you will be managing, analyzing, and monitoring your stakeholder throughout the project. The four processes. These four processes also you can define like this. First process is you identify all stakeholder, then you ensure their involvement, then you reviewing and making consultation. In identify stakeholder, you have input from project charter, because in project charter, You have early or predefined stakeholder. You have business documents, project management plans, project documents, agreements. From agreements, you will see as seller perspective or who is your contractor and stakeholder outside the boundary of your project. Tools and technique, data gathering, data analysis, stakeholder analysis, documentation analysis, stakeholder mapping, and their representation, how they represent. And output is stakeholder register and change request. So in data analysis, stakeholder analysis, basically you will doing the expectation of your stakeholders. What is their attitude? You are doing the analysis and what are their interests in your project. And there are some method to map the power or interest or influence of your stakeholder. Number one is power interest grid. So if you group your stakeholder according to the power or authority and according to their interest or their outcomes, is called power interest group. Also, you can classify your stakeholder according to their role or influence, like upward. Upward stakeholder means your senior management. Downward stakeholder means your team. Outward stakeholder means outside your project or within a program or portfolio. Sideward stakeholder are the peers or different project manager as your same level. So think yourself as a project manager. Your all colleagues, all different project managers are sideward. Upward senior management, your downward your team, and outward that are outside the project. Another is a salience model in which you take three consideration for grouping your stakeholder. Number one is power. Number two is urgency. And number three, their attention, or how they are legitimate. Most important thing that come in exam is power interest grid. You make like this. You can see here in this stakeholder group, they have less power, less interest. You need only monitor, minimum effort. These stakeholders you will only monitor. They don't have power, they don't have interest in your project. If they have power, maximum, but low interest, so you have to only satisfy them, no problem. Like your senior manager, they don't have too much interest in your project. This is your responsibility, but they have power. Maybe they can fire you. So you should have to keep satisfying your senior management. Another one have low power, like your team, your colleagues, low power, but they have too much interest in your project because they are working with your project. So you have to keep informed. Keep informed, always information, meetings, motivation, like this. So you have to keep informed this stakeholder that are very high in interest but low in power. Some stakeholder have high power, also high interest. Like your sponsor, उसने पैसा लगाया है, उसको इंटरेस्ट भी है और उसके बाद पावर भी है, तो उसको आपको मैनेज क्लोजली करना पड़ेगा, उसको आपको हर लम्हे समझे आपने रिपोर्ट देनी है. This called power interest grid. And what is this output is stakeholder register. What is the stakeholder register? It contains three things: all stakeholder name, their position, location, role, their classification like internal, external, registered supporter, leader, and their assessment, which is this one, power grid assessment. So after planning, when you identify a stakeholder in your initiating, you have to plan their engagement. So here you will develop the approaches, how to involve the stakeholder in your project regarding their expectation, interest, and potential impact. So you can see a different mind mapping, different analysis here. This is this graph we already discussed before, stakeholder engagement matrix, when we are discussing about engagement matrix in communication. These are your stakeholder list. Their current position is unaware. You need this stakeholder like supportive. So you have to work this stakeholder from unaware. You give information, you make communication, you create motivation, and then it becomes supportive. Stakeholder 2 is neutral, current position. So you motivate him only because he has all information of your project. For unaware stakeholder, you have to give your presentation for your stakeholder, you have to give marketing, different tools, then it will be some resistance, then will be neutral, then will be supportive. Another stakeholder is already neutral. He has all information for your project, but no interest. He is neutral. And you want his desired place to be supportive for your project. So you have to work on this stakeholder, make communication, make engagement, and it will be supportive in the end. Stakeholder 3 is already supportive, current position, so no need for any communication or any engagement. After this planning, you have to manage a stakeholder as per your plan. The process of communicating and working with a stakeholder to meet their needs and expectation, address issue is called stakeholder engagement. And you are engaging them as per your stakeholder engagement plan, this one. And lastly, you will monitor your stakeholder, that how they are working as per your plan or not. So you will do some data analysis and representation, meetings, different things, and you will generate work performance information and change request. And this all data, work performance data, will come from your previous process manage stakeholder. Here this reports will be generated. This stakeholder is not working like this as your desired place. So you will be monitor here and you will report some change request, or you can make work performance information. So this very easy topic, stakeholder engagement, it is finished. You have to remember here only some things: stakeholder engagement matrix and power grid. So inshallah tomorrow we will complete project integration management. So we will see all knowledge area, how combine together and work together and integrate it to perform a project from start to its successful end. So we will finish today our lecture. Thank you very much. We will meet inshallah tomorrow.